However long you've been a gardener, there are some things which continue to amaze, and one of them, more than anything else really, is the seed. How can that tiny dry speck of apparent nothingness grow into an enormous plant? It's magic, isn't it really? And there's nothing more satisfying than sowing a few of those dry specks and finding that they turn into seedlings and then into plants, provided you do the job well and give them every opportunity of getting away. The key thing to remember, once you sow a seed and add water to it, is the process has started. It will last for years before you add water, but once you've added water, you must never ever then let it dry out or it will just die. What's key to growing seeds is having the proper equipment and the proper conditions to get them to germinate, to grow, and then to carry on growing so that we can put them out in the garden, or if they're tender, grow them in a greenhouse or on a windowsill. Let's just have a look at the kinds of things you might need that might be useful when you're sowing seeds. For a start, you'll need a container. Now, the most obvious one is a small pot. Plastic pots are very useful. They've got lots of drainage holes in the base because, as well as needing moisture, they also need air, not to dry out, but to allow growth. Waterlogged compost doesn't suit seeds. It needs to be free draining but moisture retentive. It always seems like a contradiction in terms, but it's not. This is good seed sowing compost, multi-purpose compost it's sometimes sold as, or seed and cuttings compost. That's the one to get. You can sow seeds in plastic pots like this. You can sow them in fibrous pots, and this means if you're sowing single seeds like sweet corn or courgettes or even sweet peas, you can plant a single seed in a pot filled with compost like this, and then once it's grown and roots have come out, you can plant it straight in the garden, provided you make sure this fibrous pot is wet, not just damp, wet. If it's dry, it'll encase those roots, it'll never get water absorbed into it, and you'll find your plants probably perish. I mentioned sweet peas. Sweet peas love what's called a long root run. Here's an ordinary pot, and here is the kind of pot that sweet peas prefer to be sown in. Really long. It allows those roots to grow down. So you can either plant them in these long fibrous pots or in loo rolls. Again, fill them with compost, stand them in a tray, sow your individual seeds in that, and keep this damp. Again, it's just as key that this is wet when it goes out as is the fibrous pot. They will love that long root run, sweet peas. Or you can get these things called root trainers. I've had great success with these. You just go like that, they clip together, compost goes in there, and you stand them all together in a seed tray so they're held upright. And then when they've grown away and you come to plant them out, you pop them open, and each individual root ball can be extracted and planted, and that lovely long root run, like these two here, will get your sweet peas off to a flying start. Most seeds, though, can be sown either in a pot like that or in a tray, or half tray this is. A full-size seed tray is twice as big. Fill it full of your seed sowing compost, tap it to level it, and then make the top even by using one of these tampers. Don't press it hard, you're not after concrete, just an even surface on which to sow your seeds. And what I do with all small seeds is tip them from the packet into my hand and then tap my hand so that they're dislodged over the edge and they sprinkle and scatter over the surface relatively evenly. Most of them won't need covering if they're very fine. What you can cover them with is either compost tapped out of the bottom holes of a little pot like this, or with this stuff, vermiculite, very fine, expanded mica. A sprinkling of that over the top of them, you can see how light it is, will allow some light in, and yet it will stop them from drying out. When it comes to watering, don't use a can even fitted with a rose, it will dislodge the seeds. Instead, stand these trays in a shallow tray of water till they've taken up as much as they need. Half an hour to an hour is plenty. Then take them out and put them somewhere in a greenhouse or on a windowsill if you want to just protect them from the outside elements, and cover them with a sheet of newspaper just to stop the sun from burning them. Check though under that newspaper every day, and the moment you see the tiniest little green leaf, that's the time to give them full light, and again to make sure they don't dry out completely. Then you can use the watering can and rose once they've started to grow, because their roots will bind the compost together. Labelling is vital. That way you'll remember the variety you sowed, and it's a good idea also to put the date of sowing on. The newspaper, or if you really want to keep the atmosphere close, a sheet of glass before you put the newspaper on will stop them from drying out. On a single pot, you can do that. A soft drinks bottle with the bottom taken off, a little bit more air in if you take the stopper off. That will just encourage them to get away. But the moment they've started to grow, full light and plenty of ventilation to get them growing lustily and reduce the likelihood of fungus diseases. That really is all you need to know, but always, always, always read the instructions on the back of the packet. They'll tell you when to sow and how to sow. The information's free, it's concise, and it's easy to understand. Even easier to understand than me. Good luck.